So in this film we're going to have a look at one of the hidden features of the new Lenz system, and that is the global RailCom sender. Now traditionally when you do programming work on a loco you put it on a separate programming track which is low powered. It gives a bit of a safety net, so if there's a fault the programming track will be able to pick it up before you apply the full track power to the model. So there is still a separate programming track on the unit, but when it comes to doing sort of tuning on locos, then it's handy to have it on the main track and use what they call programming on main. So I've got a Tapple loco here fitted with a Lenz decoder with RailCom. And the RailCom system is used on a number of high quality decoders, so also ESU, Zemo, Ullenbrock, Pico. There's a few out there that use RailCom. I think Trix have got it on some of their new ones, and I'll have a look at that later. But we'll start with the Lenz fitted. Put the loco there on the rollers, because what I want to do is look at changing its maximum speed using the RailCom system. So we'll get it up to speed, get it running. There we are, top speed. Well, once it gets there, yeah, okay. So we'll go into programming on main, so it's the loco button and then menu, and then scroll around to programming on main, POM. So from the manuals, the top speed is held in CV5. I'll click to read that, and it's set more or less at maximum at 254. What we could do is reduce the top speed by overwriting. So let's take it down to 120, and we'll send it with the loco button. So writing. So you see now the locomotive has slowed right down. It's still getting the commands to run it at top speed. So you go on here, we're at 28 speed steps. Let it get up to that top speed again. We'll go back into programming on main. CV5. The value of 120 there. You can either clear it or you can actually use the thumb wheel. So here I can start adjusting it, fine tuning it. Doing it on the rollers here, but you could do it running around the circuit. Just get an idea of what the top speed you want it to be. Wind it all the way back up. We'll return it to sort of manufacturer settings. So there we are, it's settled down on 254 again. We'll escape out. So that's quite handy for making adjustments on the fly, as it were, so you can visibly see the result of your adjustment. With small locos, they may be running a little bit faster than you expect, so it's quite handy to dial them back a little bit. Being able to adjust the brightness of lights is also quite handy. So this is the Lenz O-gauge coach. From the manual I've read that the dining portion here is controlled by CV55, and then the compartments and the kitchen area are on 57. So let's say we want to put a more romantic lighting on the dining compartment. So we'll go into the programming on main, and it's on 55 from the manual. Oops, yep, value 181, that's what we were expecting. So if I clear it back, let's go to 65, and then when we write it the lights will dim out completely and then come back on at the new brightness. There we are. So the decoder has sort of turned the function off and then turn it back on again at the new level. So it's quite nice. It means that when you do the rotor setting, which we looked at earlier with speed control, the lights do dim up and down, so you get that flickering. But you can do it that way. You can adjust the brightness on the level here, and slowly it's coming back up. Let's go all the way back up to 181. But you see an immediate effect. There we are, we're back to 181 and we're back at full intensity. So rather than transferring it to the programming track, making an adjustment and then going back to main, this allows you to get the immediate effect. So now we're just looking at a decoder that doesn't have RailCom. Put it on the decoder tester rather than putting it into a loco just to show this. So yep, got it running and driving. So the difference is that when you come to use programming on main, let's look at that CV3 again. Oh, CV5, sorry, wasn't it? CV5. So a non-RailCom decoder will go back to sort of traditional programming on main, so there's no information coming back from the decoder. So we can't read out any CVs. But you can still do tuning on it, so let's come out quickly. Let's have a look at the acceleration. It's fairly direct acceleration there. So we'll change CV3. Program on main, CV3, which is acceleration delay. And we'll just type in a value, so put in quite a high one and send it. Now the acceleration is very delayed. It will take a bit of time to wind up to top speed. So you can still do programming on main on non-RailCom decoders, but you've got no indication of what it was originally set on. So I'll put it back down to a lower value. It's funny how it pulses it when it does that. That's a new one on me. Must just be this type of decoder. So that's what happens when you have a non-RailCom decoder on the layout. It will still run and you can still do programming, but you can't read back information off it. As a European specialist shop, I have access to quite a lot of different decoders. The good news is for British locomotives, a lot of the sound decoders are either made by ESU or Zemo, and there is a European block for digital forming. A lot of these companies, or in fact all of the companies, have signed up to a thing called Rail Community, and that aims to standardise and progress DCC in Europe. So whilst they are competing with each other, these companies are also looking at ways that they can standardise their chips so that they have things like RailCom and ABC braking on them. Some really helpful features there. So obviously this is a Zemo chip, it's a sound chip, and it supports the RailCom, so we can use that programming on main. We'll look up the ID. So there you are, 145 is a Zemo chip. So I'm just going to go through a few different chip manufacturers and just demonstrate that they have this RailCom feature on them that allows them to communicate back through the main lines. So this is a Pico Germany loco, and it has a Uhlenbrock chip in it. So again, demonstrate that the chip has RailCom. So we'll look again the manufacturer's ID 8. And it comes back 162. So I think that might be listed under Pico, but they are made by Uhlenbrock. So this is from a French manufacturer. This is REE, but it's fitted with an ESU sound chip. Absolutely amazing mechanism on this. And so again, have a look at it. We'll pop up the ID and CV8. Yes, and it reads back 151, which is the manufacturer's ID for ESU. So the latest Trix locos have got RailCom, they say. So on the end of the box it's got this little symbol, RailCom. It's quite recent, only probably in the last year. And it's a bit odd in that it's turned off on delivery. So it's possible it integrates with their legacy system, the Selectrix system. Maybe it doesn't like RailCom. So when they're delivered, RailCom is off. So if I go into Program on Main and try to read something, I get nothing. But RailCom is there. So if we come out, we need to activate it, and you do that in 2 stages. So CV29, we write to a value of 30, which will activate RailCom as well as some pre-existing things. The factory setting is 22. And we also have to turn on the 2 broadcast channels for RailCom in CV28. You see, it's still not reading anything, so now if we put in a value of 3 and write it there, that will have turned on channel 1 and channel 2. Right. So Program on Main. Now when we go in and have a look at it, it does read. So RailCom is now on that Trix loco. Oops, I didn't want to do that. Manufacturer ID 131 is Trix. I got a sneaking suspicion they're made by Doler and Haas. So it's just a bit of an oddity with the new Trix ones, where they say on the end of the box they've got RailCom, they have, it's just not turned on.